Salute y'all. Uh, Good afternoon or evening, wherever you're at. I decided to go live for a little bit, just for a quick second. I was just contemplating some things or whatnot about Black men and therapy in particular. Okay, so I connect the dots on things in particular. Let me start with therapy speak. Therapy speak is essentially using therapeutic verbiage and jargon to weaponize it against, a particular person. And then there's obviously this concept called SBE that's been thrown around. SBE is more or less shame, blame, and explain. Okay. And, this particular terminology has been used as a means to bludgeon it against, Black men and their opinions, for actually, recording and, calling out people and held them to be accountable, in which, we've been, silenced and shamed, blamed, and explained actually for, the past 40, 50 years. Okay. The recent iteration of this is, therapy speak. Okay. Right. Now, a lot of Black men have more or less checked out, and they're recording things and, having a sort of discussion or debate in regards to a public record. All right. In regards to what is going on around them, saying, hey, this is why we've checked out. This is why we're indifferent. This is why we're leaving. This is why there's other options. Okay. You can't, expect anybody to do any sort of changing when they behave like things are monopoly, right? Okay. Just as much as there was a monopoly over labor here in the United States, and companies said, you know what, I'm going to go global, right? Unions kind of sold the, kind of have everything sold up. And so companies are like, look, go ahead and we'll go over to Mexico. Let me go over ahead and go all these different places and stuff like that, right? And so that's what you think that Black men are doing. We're globalizing when it comes to the dating market. We're considering other options because guess what? If there's a monopoly of mentality here, particularly a dysfunctional one, people are deciding to go elsewhere. Now, shame, blame, explained, has been lodged as, a way to kind of silence people from actually addressing some of the fuckery that they actually see. Okay. Right. Well, I want to actually add, to how therapy speak in particular is something that people use to shame, blame, and explain on Black men. Okay. Therapy isn't inherently wrong. It's actually neither good or bad. All right. In fact, a lot of therapeutic concepts are based on logic, and for people who actually have benefited from therapy. Okay. Therapy speak is, let me go on ahead and take a quick little sidebar definition. It's jargon from psychology that is used in a way that is considered incorrect, especially jargon related to psychotherapy and mental health. Okay. And it's a bunch of buzzwords used to be weaponized or a shield against people doing what they need to ultimately do. Okay. Like instead of actually addressing an issue head on, you say it's triggering, right? When you don't like what people are saying, you're saying it's abusive, right? Now tell me that's not shame, blame, and explain it. Could somebody tell me that it's not? Okay. This has been going on and has been going on for a minute. And I decided that, let me go on ahead and actually, address it. Okay. But before I get into that, let me go ahead and actually shout out to some of the people who are in the chat. Okay. Salute Andre. Salute. Tevin always in the house. Salute to you. My channel brethren, contractors, salute, man. Let me know if you want to come on up, man. Let me know. Put the one in the chat. I'll drop the link for you. All right, brother. Snuggles, what's happening? All right. Play. What's up, Play Perry? All right. Oh, salute, Newt. Salute, man. That 1911, spirit of the good old 1911, man. All right. Exactly. That's what it is. Actually, action. Okay. So, long story short, I want y'all to, going ahead and like keyword in, just so that y'all are very, very much, equipped to what therapy speak is. Okay. Therapy speak is like, once again, people using words like gaslighting, calling people a narcissist and things like that. And you ask people, okay, if you've been to therapy, are you still there? If you were in therapy, you would actually be mindful of, power dynamics, manipulation, games, or, being accountable to self, being able to think, being able to, free yourself from, the guilt or resentment that you have so that you can really heal. Okay. What people tend to do is they go to these sessions with therapy and they use it as a means to gather ammo so they can lodge it against other people. Just like feminism was done before, in the first place, it was used more or less to lodge as a weapon for the lack of accountability for, their own individualized, efforts to begin. And it's a paradigm people could adequately hide behind doing, right? Okay. So I just wanted to, put out there, what are y'all's thoughts about that? You know what I mean? Yo, Lion, what's happening, Lion? All right, I just want to, say what's up to my toxic Dusties up in here, because that's exactly what we're being called, narcissists. Going ahead and own it. Anytime you have any sort of esteem as a black man, you're called a narcissist or, arrogant, overconfident, whatever they decide that they want to actually lodge at you. Right? Salute. Professional Nomad podcast. Y'all going ahead and go over there and subscribe to that brother. And while y'all at it, y'all make sure y'all go on over to the contractor and subscribe to his channel. Okay. Many black men are actually taking spaces to put on the record, from an empirical standpoint, argumentation, to other ways to be discriminative in a way to where you see the effort for what it is empirically. Okay. There's no, debate about, what's there. Okay. And you have people who want to continue to either from an individual scale or a wider scale, they're not used to change. They don't want change. Right now, we're very much in a black male renaissance when it comes to thought, when it comes to debate, deliberative discourse, actually, thinking, and actually recording it in some sort of codex. That's exactly happening here. And anytime there's any sort of change in what people would deem normal, people rather latch on to the bullshit that they know than actually explore and actually see what other options are out there. That's normal course of human behavior. When you're in an environment, even if it's a bad one, you reach a stasis. All right. When you have to make adjustments, just like any other organism, there's a shock. Okay. And that's what people are experiencing. But to point to the overall larger point, once again, okay, therapy speak. You have people who go to these sessions, okay, and they're not really getting anything out of it, okay. People say, over and over and over that they're traumatized, and in the words of Coach Clinician, trauma queens, okay. There's no real healing that's going on. It's perpetual victimhood. And there is power in victimhood. You can use empathy to leverage this against the people who you just don't like. You have a sort of blank check to the bank of fuckery where, there's no real accountability. And you're obviously morally bankrupt because you're not actually doing anything to actually change. Now, bad things do happen to people in the course of life. It does. It really does, right? Okay. And one big part of therapy is developing the tools to be resilient. Okay. Not this sort of perpetual victimhood. When you're hearing about people being in therapy for years and years on end and stuff like that, that's not appropriate either, because you're actually making that person develop some level of like dependency. Okay. They're supposed to actually grow. They're supposed to actually learn things. And if there's different issues and things like that, they're supposed to move beyond it. When you have people who are in therapy for years and years on end, either the therapist is trying to get the bag, which is unethical, or you have this person who just doesn't want to grow, or there's no real incentive to. They're just looking for all these different excuses vis-a-vis therapy speak as a means to weaponize against people who are actually trying to do the accounting, help, like, hey, you need to get your stuff together, right? And those people who are encouraging them to get their shit together, obviously, they're considered toxic, they're considered gaslighters, they're considered narcissists and everything else, right? And obviously when you hear people like that, they are not necessarily healed. When you actually peel back the onion and you start asking them about trauma, you find that the words that they're using are very much dog whistle words. Okay, like I said before, this is not to the people who've actually experienced trauma and who's on the journey to reconciliation and wholeness as far as their life goes. This is actually designed for the people who say, oh, it's traumatic, or it was traumatic because, my dad told me that, I had to get a trade, go to the military, or go to college, when I was 18. And I didn't listen to him. So, he threatened to, tell me I had to leave. Yes, it could be upending. Yes, it could be uncomfortable. And therapy is supposed to be uncomfortable at times. It's not supposed to be abusive. It's not supposed to be disrespectful. It's not supposed to be demeaning. But change is uncomfortable. It 100% is. Okay. It doesn't mean that the person is any less empathetic. It doesn't mean that, the person does not care about you. Even the good book says it's better to hear, get a kiss by a friend. Get a kiss. It's better to hear criticism from a friend than get a kiss by 9 enemies, right? Okay. So I just want you all to know that when you hear that stuff, take it with a grain of salt, because you don't do what this person wants you to do. Like, hey, we need to go to Ruth Chris. Nah, we ain't going to Ruth Chris tonight. That's not what we're going to do. So you're accused of being selfish or self-centered or married or disrespectful. No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that, you're listening to that encrypted voice in which that person is trying to manipulate you, and you're holding boundary. It means that you don't want to be anchored by what the hell they want you to do. Okay. Therapy speak is used as a tool to manipulate people. This is a recent thing. It's happened in the last 5 years, especially in the post-COVID world we're dealing with right now. Okay. So watch out for it, because it is the original SBE, if we want to go there. Okay. And so I'm making an argument that, speaking of shame, blame, and explain, where you have these talk shows, which did exactly that, even took aspects of therapy speak and was gumshoe and armchair therapists who actually levied a lot of the blame and dysfunction on Black men, despite the fact that you see the DNA results not necessarily being attributed to that brother, right? Okay? We've been held to the fire and the crucible for years, and when we cough up to actually get breath air from drowning in the bullshit that this world has brought us, where we're just deluged in this negativity, then obviously we're SBE. You goddamn right we SBE. You know, in fact, right now, let's call this SBE TV for now. Salty balls, motherfucking excels. You goddamn right. You know what I mean? Shame, blame, and explain, and people are going to keep doing it as long as there's some bullshit out there. All right? Okay? And we see it for what it is. So if you hear people out there using all these terms, right, and you see the lack of progress in their life, and there's this perpetual victimhood and coddling, and, you know, the game is on easy as far as this person goes. You know, the game setting is easy, and they can't still play the game called life, then obviously you have this grown-ass child only using what they can, the weapons they have, which is therapy speak. Dog, once again, it's the digital version, the new version of just that, right? So what I'm going to do, and I only got more or less 30 minutes, I decided to do a little bit of a midday pop-up. You know, I'm going to drop the link just so we could talk about it. Let's stick to the topic for those who want to come on up here as far as, you know, how therapy speak impacts them. Okay. All right. There's the link. All right. Ha, line. Yeah, the dust repels you. Right. We are gonna own it. Okay. All right. As you know, I'm either waiting on people to come on up, you know, and I could talk a little more about this particular subject or whatnot, is how to combat it. So exactly what's happening. I've alluded to weaponized indifference in the past. Okay. Just don't do anything. Anybody tries to play games or manipulate you, you know what self-agency is. Okay. You know what you want to do. Okay. You know what is harmful for you, and you know what is not harmful for you. Don't let anybody guilt you. Don't let anybody shame you. Don't let anybody make you feel any type of way about what you or what you decide to do. So don't give it any time and energy. Not at all. Don't ever give it any time and energy. Okay. And what people will do is try to give it time and energy, whether it is positive or negative, and it only gives people the sort of currency that you want to give them, which is by paying them attention, right? It'll fizzle out. So those people who aren't actually getting the help or healing that they need, let them be where they are. Let them be stuck in the sort of perpetual purgatory that they are in. Life will catch up. The environment will catch up. And you all see this on a massive scale, right? You know, look at what's happening around you all, right? I mean, it's funny how people are talking about quote unquote divestment when the power structure and the systems literally divested in them. Ain't that a bitch? Right? Right? You know, you have the people who are actually talking about divestment who seceded you from quote unquote the community, right? Where, you know, you have these schools, these corporations, you have all these different places, more or less, you know, divesting in them. You're no longer the sort of flavor of the day, right? I guess, you know, next week or next month, they're going to cover, people who, may have blue, that'll be the flavor of the month. And then next thing you know, it'll be something else, just like these corporations do when it comes to their marketing departments. DEI is one of the avenues in which they perpetuate this sort of crap where people are using these sort of lingo. Let me go ahead and be nosy here, and this is really off the dome, right? I'm just curious. I'm sure there's a DEI glossary or DEI, handbook or something like that you can look up out there, and I'm willing to bet that a lot of these terms that we talked about here, right, are part of, this sort of same sort of weaponizing therapy speak or jargon that people use. Okay, let me go on ahead and see what I find here. And I will actually speak about where I got it from so that you all can see that more or less this is non-biased. Let me see what I have here. Okay, so National Association of Counties. They have a DEI key terms and stuff like that. It's pretty big and expansive glossary. Okay. You dig and you actually look, right? Damage imagery, right? Visual text narrative or data used to highlight inequities presented without appropriate historical, socio-political context, right? Damage imagery can be corrected by explaining systematic and historical barriers and focusing on solutions within the communities that are the sum of the visuals, text, narratives, and data. Oh, this is funny. They're trying to get ahead. You all look this up. This is hilarious. And this is me looking at sites. I kid you not. National Association of Counties, they have a DEI key terms and definitions. Let me go on ahead and drop the link here. Okay. I just happen to actually come across a particular word here. Okay. Damage imagery is the first thing I seen. And so when you have brothers up here actually doing just very much this, right? Actually discussing more or less, these issues that are going on with the community and actually using audio visuals to do so. I guess people use SBE. Yes, there's this new word here, damage imagery, which actually fits into my initial premise in the first place. This is hilarious, right? This language isn't necessarily used to actually change or anything like that. This is to continue perpetual victimhood because there's, people who make money off of this stuff, right? Because people are actually healed. Nothing would, if people were actually healed, there would be no profit in it. All right. Okay. Privilege, an unearthed, sustained advantage afforded to some over others based on group identities related to race, gender, sexuality, ability, social and economic status, and or other identity. I'm interested in the fact that, this is used in the sort of definition is very much inert. But when it comes to, how this works in the real world, people don't acknowledge that, everybody has some level of privilege, right? Okay. People say that black men have a privilege or whatever the case may be. But what about the B-dub of privilege? They're able to, go out and act with reckless abandonment and there's no accountability. And anybody actually, who addresses it, people form up like to quiet their voices. All right. Let me go on ahead and peer through, some of these other little definitions here. And this is DEI stuff, right? Because some of this stuff is actually used to do the very much the same thing. Hey Hermes, hey, how you doing, man? To catch you up, let me go on ahead and take a quick remind on my premise. Okay, the premise is that it's therapy speak, right? Which is weaponized therapy language used as a dog whistle against black men as SBE. All right, which is same, blame, and explain. All right, let me go on ahead and let my channel brother in. He is in the back, but that's the premise. All right, what's happening, contractor? How you doing this afternoon, man?
I'm doing good, brother. How you doing?
Oh man, I'm just basically, trying to connect the dots with some things. Obviously there's been this, um, you know, term thrown around SBE, right? Shame, blame, and explain. That's leading against black men, right?
Mhm.
But there's therapy speak that's used to do just that and have been doing, such as shame, blaming, and explaining black men when it comes to us with the use of therapy term. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you talk with that.
Well, I only disagree on one part. When you said
Okay,
it's
go
new,
ahead.
when you said it's new, that's the only part I disagree. Here's the
Well,
reason why.
go
No,
ahead.
here's the reason why. Yes, their therapy terms being thrown around, whether they whether people understand them or not is not a here nor there. But the shaming, blaming, and explaining is very close to the sign language thing that Kevin was talking about. I myself personally remember growing up back in the day, my mama shaming, blaming, and explaining, and also having that good old need to be right. Now, I believe it's just become more refined. This is it's still plantation politics, but it's just a more refined version of it. Because now I can say you're being a narcissist and just throw it out there and it's broad. You know what I mean? So it's still the same. It's all the same. It's still the same game, just different players at a different time. That's just my impression, though. What are your thoughts?
Oh, 100%, 100%. Yeah, you're obviously right. You're absolutely correct. And in that case, let me go ahead and edify my premise. I would say that we more or less the recent iteration of black men when it comes to them SBing on us. You understand what I mean, right? Because there's the talk shows of the 90s and 80s and all that other stuff. Trying to shame people into being fathers of kids that's not theirs, right? So you're absolutely correct. In that it's just a modern iteration of it, and I figure educating the brothers on this just so that we're ahead of it is just simply evolved. It's the same witchcraft, okay? Manipulation in games is just simply evolved. Shit is shit, whether it's cluster shit, whether it's muddy shit, whether it's chip shit, there's bullshit. Shit is still shit. It's just simply changed form, whether it's green, whatever the case may be. And this is exactly what it is. You know what I mean? Shit, right? And we just got to call it what it is, right? And I'm sure people might not necessarily agree or like this, and I don't care. You just got to call it out for what it is. There's this language to kind of control or cajole people in how they move when it comes to them actually offering some sort of critique. And there's a room for that. Anybody who's in a society where there is some sort of above of reproach or critique, then it becomes a problem. And we've seen this, would you say, in the Middle Ages, right? Okay. With the
Hmm.
Inquisition,
You're right.
okay. And the Inquisition extended out to more or less the Salem witch trials, right? And then, you know, we can even fast forward to more of a recent iteration of that, which would be McCarthyism. Okay. And black men have been under all those and some since the hell we've been here. Inquisition, us being rounded up like, you know, the Salem witch trials and McCarthyism, all three of them damn things. You know what I mean? Whether it's through explanation or, you know, the allowance of social, institutional, or actual physical violence against us. But you're about to say something?
Quick question: Is it fair to say that anyone that believes they are above being critiqued, but it still has the freedom to critique you, is full of shit?
Well, unless you call it blasphemy, because you know, they obviously have a God complex. We're in a free society where everybody is subjected to any sort of critique or, you know, critical analysis and examination. That's just life. You can't move about the world without anybody saying anything about you. That's just, you know, unrealistic. But unless you're graced with that, you know, that special sprinkle, that black girl magic, I don't think you can ever be touched, man. You know, I don't think you can be touched unless you have a little bit of that. All right, let me go on ahead and add Glow Hardy in here. How you doing, man? Would you like me to go on ahead and repeat the premise, or you're fine with going ahead and digging in? Yeah, unmute yourself, brother.
Please repeat the premise.
Okay, so SBE, which is shame, blame, and explain. Okay, that has been used as a critique against black men in these spaces, as far as, you know, verbalizing their disapproval of what's been going on, quote unquote, with Keisha in the community and how it affects everybody. Okay, it's been used as such. All right. Okay. And so the premise is that, you know, this has been going on against black men in general and overall. That very thing that, you know, people are critiquing black men about as far as having a voice in these spaces, with SBE, Keisha's been doing this and has been doing this in years. And one prime example of that is therapy speak. How people use therapy terms.
Oh my God!
Exactly.
Man, you don't even got to explain no more.
Mm-hmm.
If you want me to dive into it, it's cool.
Yeah, go ahead. You know, I want
man,
what they think about this.
Hey, God forbid she works at a mental health clinic. All right, God forbid she works at a mental health clinic. Now let's say that you're having a conversation with your therapist, and like, you know, one of the workers that isn't in on the clinic, or like she's low key listening to you from the outside while you're having they do this. It's not like, bro, it's not professional. It's not as professional. My head is going haywire because this is huge. This is like a big thing, bro. Like, God forbid you're in there talking to a therapist and a Keisha that wants to know more about you without actually having to be in the therapist room with you is listening to the door with her ear to the door like this. She gonna have a conversation. Now, it loosely relates. I know that it's not fully, but let me tell you how it goes. I guarantee you, in that city or in that area of the city that you're in, she's gonna have conversations about you. She may not she may not expose who you are directly, but she's not only just talking about you amongst her. They like client, therapist, privacy privilege. It's supposed to be a thing, but let me tell you, they definitely go far. They go beyond that now. It's truly, you're hardly gonna find a therapist office. God forbid that it's Black women do it the worst. All right, I'm gonna just put it like that. We talk about Keishas and stuff like that. I don't like when I go into a white therapist's office. I don't need. I expect my privileges to be respected. And there are good black women in those. I've had good therapist black women, so it's not all black women, but a lot of black women that work in the mental health field, they'll have these conversations amongst each other, and then that conversation about you, maybe specifically, or like other clients that they may have had they're gonna have a wider conversation amongst the population in which you're staying in. Like whatever small region that you're in, you're gonna be talked about. You may go somewhere and you might not know nobody in there, but somebody knows you and knows about like some intimate details about who you are if you're going to like a place where like a lot of different types of people congregate, like a social setting. That's one.
Glow. You're right. That's sisterhood thing is absolutely.
It's some scary. It's witchcraft, bro. Like when I tell you witchcraft is a real thing, I'm spiritual. Witchcraft is a real thing. When I tell you, like we're so to directly answer, even more so directly answer the question, what we're really referring to, like not just referring to, but like the most common example that we can refer to is like us being referred to as narcissists when we want to exercise a proper level of control over the relationship. They say that they want somebody dominant, but when you start exhibiting dominant tendencies, they're like, no, we don't want that. But it's not that they don't want that. They tell you that they don't. They'll tell you that they want that, and they'll study you, and they'll figure out a way to take away from your dominance. They're gonna figure out some type of way to take away. They're studying your dominant techniques so they can implement them themselves. It's a reverse psychology. I'm gonna study him, and then I'm gonna use everything that I've known about him against him.
Okay, so let's go on ahead and tackle a couple of those points. So first and foremost, you actually took a level higher. Okay, arming people with therapy speak to use in an inappropriate sort of way and out of context, right? You know, they only hearing one side of the story, and you know they're being told, oh, that's emotional abuse. Oh, that's this, that's that. So if you disagree with somebody about something, like let's say, for instance, your girl want to go to Ruth Chris, once a week or whatever, and you're like, nah, we got this, overall goal to save money so that we can, buy a house or something like that. And you're given the term that you're financially abusing them, right? You're financially abusing them somehow. Right now, you set a boundary financially, and you're saying, hey, this does not go with our overall goal. You committed to buying this house with me, but you have this sort of expectation that doesn't match up with that, right? And you exercising your leadership and your stewardship as the man in the relationship, and obviously there's a sort of power and tug of war where they want to more or less usurp that, or whatever the case may be. And because of that, they're using these sorts of weapons against you, instead of just saying, hey, you know what? Your values, your style, and what I want to do and what you're going to do are inherently incompatible. So therefore we're incompatible, and just move on. Right. And so instead of moving on, and just simply saying, hey, ain't no abuse going on here. Ain't nothing negative going on here. We're just, incompatible. There's obviously this sort of language used against that, right? But, like, for example, when you decide you want to exercise boundaries, let's say you're getting yourself acquainted with the lady, right? And she's still in contact with her ex, and, she's still got male friends around, and they're looking, a little too cozy. You know what I mean? Things that was that they're probably fucking. I'm gonna go on ahead and say it. And you like, hey, I don't get down with that. Then you're obviously shamed, blamed, and obviously explanation that you're controlling, right? For exercising your boundary. You're obviously, this caveman with a bat, and you're trying to hit her upside the head, by doing so, or when she decides to go to the club every Saturday with the girlfriends and drink and get grinded up on, or whatever the case may be, you're also controlling, right? You're not confident in your masculinity and all these different. You agree or disagree? Does not come out that way.
No. I totally agree. If you honestly, what you're saying is actually like it goes back into the manipulation conversation that we had earlier this week. They're the ones that are controlling. They're the ones that are emotionally abusive. They're projecting their need to control in a subversive way. They're projecting the fact that they know that they're being controlled. There's no way that they don't know that they're being controlling in a very indirect way, but it's very effective. They're projecting what they're doing onto you. That's exactly what they're doing.
I would say that they do know, but on that note,
that's what I said. They do know. They know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, they very much do. Let me quickly give Contractor the floor. I think he was trying to say something. Go on ahead, Contractor.
See, yep, y'all are tickling the corners of the plate, right? So Saul, I have a very diverse background. All right, Glow, good game for you. They're always going to try to manipulate the situation, no matter what. They want strength. They feed off that strength, and they in turn end up hating you for that strength. The thing, Dennis talked about it. The thing that attracts them to you will be the first thing that they attempt to destroy. That's attached to you, real quick. So, in the new reiteration of SBE is a bunch of terms, narcissism, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, it's all Jerome's fault. It's all Jerome's fault. Keep in mind, the broad that screamed that became famous for that, she never fully explained why she deleted them babies that came from Jerome and into her, and then she decided to give birth to them. She never explained that. Not once. It's always going to be someone else's fault, not theirs. They're allowed to live in their delusion. Whenever you have a person that's allowed to live in their delusion, it's never going to work out. So, in short, I'll sum it all up real simple. This is why I say, act like a man, but think like a pimp. Don't none of what that bitch got to say matter, because it's all bullshit. It's all meant to gear you in a direction where she can manipulate you.
Yes.
And if she can manipulate you, after that, she's going to dispose of you.
Yes.
I can make you emotional, little old me, and I ain't shit. If I don't shower today or add some feminine spray, now my ass smell like a wolf and all that, can now manipulate you. This grown ass, strong ass man that has a physical strength and ability to crack her goddamn skull open if you so chose to.
I do want to say this though. I'll let you finish your point. My apologies.
Ignore 99.9% of what they're saying. Or to quote dirty folks, I don't listen to a broad just got her clothes on, bro. I don't know what you got to say. Because then you start dealing with situations like SBE, and then it escalates from there. This is what they do. They don't have the physical strength to incapacitate you or overpower you, so they try to manipulate you. It starts in your mind, works its way to your heart, then or vice versa, whatever, and then you start believing it. Just shut them down. Shut them down. Off the break.
So let me quickly interject, okay? And I know that we're gonna go right back to you, Glow Hardy, okay? Glow Hardy brought up this point. Gentlemen get close to people. They, would you say, take the armor off, be a little more vulnerable, and they actually, speak about themselves. And guess what happens after you speak about, your vulnerable and the deep diving secrets about yourself? Guess what happens? She takes it as metal. She sharpens it, right? She puts it under fire, right? And where do you think the dagger goes?
in your back.
In your heart, bro. In your heart.
Exactly.
It
Right.
ain't a backstab, it's a chest stab.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You just don't see it coming.
The most intimate details about yourself, right? Where you actually are vulnerable, right? And see, that's the thing. Why play all these games? Why do all that? It seems to be the same formula over and over and over again, a pattern. Okay, not to say that everybody's like this, but it's enough of a critical mass that this is a problem. This is a problem, right? And when held unchecked, we're going to continue to have these sorts of things going on. And this is why, there is quote unquote no table, right? There is a BATNA, a best alternative than the negotiated agreement. It used to be a social contract, an inherent one, an implied one. That does not exist anymore because there's alternatives, right? When you go to the car lot, you tell them that you want to buy a car for $20,000, okay, an entry-level car, and they're telling you got to pay $40,000-$50,000. You're not even getting the luxury of leather seats. You're not getting the luxury of oil changes and services. You're not getting the luxury of any of that stuff. And you're looking at the best alternative other places. That car lot is going to sit up there and say, hey, we're going to adjust some pricing. We're going to make some adjustments, right? It's competition, it's the market, or whatever the case may be. And a lot of our detractors like to call what we say pseudoscience. It's not, because you can go to Google Scholar and look up, inter or intra-sexual competition, which is that competition. Any sort of competition is driven more or less using that sort of language there. If I can go elsewhere, okay, then obviously, why not do it? Okay. Now, let me go ahead and turn it back on over to Glow Hardy. There was some other points that he'd like to get out. I want you all to keep in mind, I got to wrap it up on the 55 of the hour. We got 13 more minutes, and I actually wanted to make sure that, I gave this the time that it deserved. All right. Go on ahead, Glow.
Yes, sir. So, it goes back to your point, contractor. I don't know. I forgot who said this, but you can tell if a bitch lying if her mouth moving. I don't know if y'all never heard that before, but you know what I'm saying. It's some real shit. You know what I'm saying. What I did want to say,
I like the hell out of it.
yeah, it's a good it's a jump for real. We have to understand that, like, first of all, I want to preface what I'm about to say. Men show aggression through physical dominance, and women show aggression through manipulation.
You're bored.
These are biological imperatives. Am I good?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. And I think people got the gist of it. Yeah, you got the gist of it. And obviously you have somebody who is actually supporting you on that. I agree, right? If you don't have, you don't have physical might, then what do you have? You have manipulation, shrewdness, being capricious, and just nothing but games, right?
But I want to say this too. The reason everything that they know is because of us. So the game, look, and I'm not saying it's good to be this way, but I will say that men are the master manipulators. We are, and it's a good thing that we are. We just choose not to be that way. You know what I'm saying? We're more susceptible to it, but we really are the people who gave them the blueprint on how to do it. We know, we can see them coming. This is why we're able to explain it as it's going on. This is why we're able to identify their behaviors as it's happening. We just choose to fall to another side and not believe that it's happening. We convince ourselves that something isn't happening before a female do. You know what I'm saying? That's how I think of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they wouldn't have the knowledge that they have if it wasn't for us in the first place. So I wanna start there. Like, we know what they're doing before they start the plan. We just hope we place the responsibility of them not using that we place the responsibility of being decent people and not being manipulative onto them, and we can't expect them to do that because of their chaotic nature.
Well,
right there,
go ahead,
right
contract.
there, right there. That last part, because of their chaotic nature. Then on top of that, we place that responsibility on them, bro. The concept of benevolence, the concept of reciprocity, the concept of honor, respect. These are male concepts. They were never female concepts. And when you break it down, like look at what was that movie? Fury. All right, prime example. You ever seen that one?
I've heard
Fury?
of it. No.
Okay, well, it had your boy, old boy Brad Pitt in it. Long story short, they had a young soldier that wasn't used to nothing, never seen war. He was in like he carried around a typewriter up until he had to get into a tank. Then he got to see what the world was really like. He had a French broad riding on his pole for a chocolate bar. You feel me? They are survivalists. They don't think about these concepts. They just live in whatever world you build for. So if you're the master and architect of that world, and you make it too cush and too comfortable, you're gonna have hell to pay. Every culture that's come before us that had made it too cush, too comfortable, and was what's the word for it? That started to obsess over our natural biological functions, where we are start reproducing or we don't. They got wiped out. These creatures haven't changed, not at all. They're still the same exact way. What you're seeing is
Sophistication of their behavior. Like, and
yes,
when I say sophistication, I don't mean like, like a good thing. I mean like you're seeing them sharpen the sword that they use to swing.
yes. In a nutshell, they can put a whole lot more pretty words behind it, but at the end of the day, they still trying to chop your head off when you ain't looking. What other creature on earth will let you feed it, let you take care of it, let you nurture it, let you teach it and show it, then turn around and bite your head off?
I would say pigs. They turn into boars after a while.
I'm just saying. Think of it like that. In that framework, think of it like that, just like that. No matter what you do or what you give, it ain't never gonna be good enough. Look at Bill Gates.
Hey, trust me, I know more. I'm always learning. Let me first and foremost say that. I'm gonna just say it like this. I've literally dealt with sleeping next to somebody who was intentionally trying to sabotage my career. So I learned a lot of these lessons young, not only through her, but through my family as well, because like I come from like a gynocracy. I'm not gonna lie to you. But trust me, I know like the lengths that they will go to subvert the proper development of a masculine ego knows no bounds. I'm going to tell you that, and especially here in America, they don't covet that. They don't covet masculinity like how they're supposed to. They don't see masculinity to them as a threat rather than an asset.
Well, here's the thing, and this is why they defer to baby making instead of marriage, because marriage is allegiance to a man, and two people are incorporated socially as two people are incorporated economically, more like a business merger, whatever the case may be. They're
It is a
incorporated.
business merger.
Yeah. So with that being said, if there's an economic driver to divide up families and stuff like that, then why don't we just get the baby, get the money, and hop on another pole and be my selfish, self, as I've already wanted to be, And so I think they say affluence actually shows character in its rawest form, right? And so I think this affluence, this money, and these amenities that we actually have is actually showing people's true nature on a massive scale. But
That's a
with that
great
being
point.
said, Yes. So with that being said, I'm going ahead. I'm going to recommend a verse just for reference. You don't have to be Christian to use the Bible as reference, but Isaiah 3:16, 26, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. And then I'm going to go on ahead and give you all the opportunity to give some closing thoughts because, you know, I got to more or less wrap on up. I got some things I got to take care of. And thanks, you all for showing out. Thanks to the chat. Salute to y'all for coming through and showing off, coming in here, man. Y'all coming in here real deep, and I'll do more of these pop-up lives. And it seems like y'all more or less enjoy these. Y'all make sure y'all going ahead and y'all subscribe to Red Sigma. About comedy, y'all make sure you're going over there and subscribe to his stuff. And obviously my channel brethren here, the contractor, okay, the contractor 1982 over at his channel, okay. He's going to be having some stuff come up, and obviously there is somebody else here. I want to make sure y'all go ahead and support the Professional Nomad podcast. He's a growing channel. We got to support our brother in here as far as having our own media. So y'all going ahead and support them. Okay. Once again, the Professional Nomad podcast, Red Sigma, as well as the contractor. Okay. Y'all going ahead with y'all's closing statements. Each y'all give me 2 minutes.
Cool. Contractor, would you like to go first? Or...
Nah, go ahead, Kalo. You good. You good.
All right, but I would say what I'm gonna tell you about like therapy speak and engaging in conversation with a woman in general, just for the most part over here, you know what I'm saying? I ain't really been to any other country yet, but over here, what I've learned that it's best to keep everything to yourself, bro. Don't be vulnerable. I don't care how feminine and how delicate she may seem over here. To me, it's just a ruse. Even if you're wrong, I think that it's better to be safe than sorry. Even if you're wrong, and she could be a very feminine woman, your purpose is not a woman. So like, don't make your purpose finding a good woman. At least over here, like we know what the environment is right now currently, and even the good women that are good women, they're standing too close to the hoes. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm gonna tell you all to do is definitely be emotionally stalwart. And that's just a fancy word or a fancy phrase for practice stoicism. Don't show emotion. For me, what I do, I practice abstinence, bro. Like I done had enough. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm headed to too great of a place to constantly be focused, or not even constantly be focused, but just to give any woman my attention. You know what I'm saying? I don't give anyone. She's gonna have to go out her way, and when I say out her way, she has to initiate. I don't believe in cold. I don't what do you call it? Cold pickup or anything like that. She has to go out her way to show interest to me. And the moment that she starts playing games and stuff like that, which could be like texting back or anything like texting back too slow, don't, you know what I'm saying, cut her off. You know what I'm saying? She has to show interest in you, and she has to be about you. And even when she gets to your heart and you feel like there's some degree of comfort or trust that you have with her, don't give into it. Just see it as a ruse. Don't show any vulnerability, and you can very gradually, like get to the point where you can talk more, but don't sit up here and I mean, when I say gradually, I'm talking about over years. A lot of women over here are not deserving of marriage. And to wrap up with the therapy speak, just educate yourself on psychological concepts and really think about how they apply to a conversation about therapy. Like when you hear these labels being thrown as like narcissist, or like, oh, he's narcissistic, or he has he has like some type of anger disorder or anything like that. you know what I'm saying? Like really look, really examine who this is coming from. That's the biggest thing. Examine who this label is coming from. Like who don't even. It's not even the pot calling the kettle. It's not even the pot calling the kettle black. Like it's really just like a urchin speaking ill of like a king. That's how I see it.
Well, a lot of it is projection. A lot of it is projection.
And
and
projection, exactly.
And thanks for that. Low Hardy speaks to a point. What we talked about a couple of videos ago, which is gray rocking for those guys out there who want to countermeasure manipulation, games, and shame. You countermeasure the female-oriented shame, blame, and explaining with gray rock method. Stoicism is one of the avenues to do that, where you're non-reactive and non-engaging to the fuckery. Thank you, Glow Hardy. Let me go ahead and turn the mic on over to the contractor. So we go ahead. I got an appointment on the hour. So going ahead, contractor. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll be short, concise, and to the point. Be it SBE, be it sign language, whatever acronym you gentlemen prefer, it's simple. Never listen to a bitch. You'll save yourself a lot of pain. The moment you do, you fucked up. Don't react. Glow, you on the right track. Everything the young brother just said, he took the words like right out of my mouth. On top of that, I would just like to say the Arabs got it right. They got it right. They got it right. We've been married for 30 years, but I will stone them. Yeah, real shit. Be stoic at all times. Be a man at all times. You can never take your arm off. You a space marine, my G. Fuck it. There it is. You can't take your arm off, bro. Not around them. Because as soon as you do, that nice dagger that's been heated in the fires of their rage is going in your heart. But you won't see it coming. Because that's how they act and react. They don't even treat the little people that come out of their bodies right. What the make you think they're gonna treat you right? They didn't listen to God. They ain't listening to you, bruh. It's reality. On that note, I'll leave it there. Y'all brothers have a good night. Saw these pop-ups are always fire, broken. Salute to you, Red Sigma, all my other brothers. I'll be coming through with something eventually when I learn how to use StreamYard the correct way instead of stumbling like I was last night. But Glow,
we got you.
You got the info. Saw, much love, bro, big bro, and y'all have a good one.
All right, I'll see y'all. Let me go on ahead and drop y'all down for my closing. Okay. I would say this, okay. Once again, close up. SBE, shame, blame, and explain has been lodged as a critique in these spaces for men who actually speak about, you know, some of the fuckery they see every day and catalog them. It's not that anybody really cares like that about what Keisha does. It's actually, you know, showing things from a cautionary tale when not to get yourself wrapped up into. The latest iteration of female-led and oriented shame, blame, and explain against the black man is Therapy Speak, okay? Obviously, it has been going on. It's been going on for years. But Therapy Speak is used to kind of silence voices. For those men out there who are actually looking for spaces for actual support, there are, you know, very, very objective professionals out there. Make sure you vet your therapist as you do your barber, right? You won't let anybody in your head when it comes to the barbering. Don't let anybody in your head when it comes to the therapy, okay? So with that being said, I would say, once again, be knowledgeable about these different concepts, be knowledgeable about you know, boundaries or whatnot. And that is my premise. And I hope to see you all in the future again as I do these pop-ups. Y'all going ahead and donate a like on the way out. And you will see us popping up randomly in these YouTube streets. Once again, salute. Good day.